Shalom Chaverim, it's Rubisa. We are getting ready for the Chag of Shavuot, the time when we receive the Aseret HaDibrot and the Torah on Har Sinai. We also celebrate the new crops at this time, all the things that are growing, that are fresh and ready to pick. And in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, they would gather the first things that had grown, so thankful to Hashem that they grew, and they carry them all to Yerushalayim, to the Beit HaMikdash. So special how things grow so we can eat them. Another food that often gets celebrated at Shavuot, that's a tradition, is eating dairy food. So not just celebrating the wheat and things that grew, but that the cows are producing milk and having that milk and that dairy. So on those two topics, I'm going to share a book with you now that is called Cheesecake for Shavuot. It's set in Israel and it shows pictures of a real class in Israel making, well, you'll see, cheesecake for Shavuot. Today we are planting wheat in our school garden. Nili, our Morah, tells us that in Israel we plant in the fall so that it can be watered by the Geshem in winter. Remember, we kept asking for Geshem all winter long, and that helped our plants grow. Shoshana and Naomi dig up the earth. We mix in compost, scatter the seeds, and cover them up. Then we give them a big drink of mayim. A few weeks later, tiny green shoots appear. It looks like grass, says Ruti. All winter, we watch the wheat grow. Just before Pesach, Mora Nili shows us that the wheat is making seed heads. Each stalk has two little rows of green seeds at the top. Can we cut it and make it into flour? Leah asked. Not yet, says Mora Nili. The grains have to ripen. It won't be ready until later in the spring, around Shavuot. That is also why Shavuot is called Chag HaKatzir, the holiday of the grain harvest. Chag HaKatzir. As the weather gets warmer and drier, the things in the ground ripen. The seed heads turn brown and drop towards the ground. Finally, it's harvest time. Each of us gets a turn to use the sickle. As I cut my stalks, a few grains fall on the ground. So you see a sickle is a special tool that she's using. It's like a big knife, but shaped like the letter C or kaf. Those are called gleanings, says Avia about the grains that have fallen to the ground. We are supposed to leave them for the poor, like we read about in the book of Ruth. But what poor people are going to come to our school to pick them up? I protest. They'll be wasted. I have an idea, Avia says. We can bring them to the goats at the petting zoo. When we finish cutting all the stalks, Nili tells us we must leave them to dry in the shemesh, in the sun. We tie them into a bundle called a sheaf and stand it on end. The wheat bends all around like a little umbrella. The next day, we take the gleanings to the petting zoo. The goats' tongues lick our hands as we feed them. Amir, who takes care of the animals, lets us help milk the mother goats. There's lots of chalav this time of year. Remember, chalav is milk. Because the baby goats are old enough to eat other food, they will enjoy the grain you brought. We take turns milking. Itai squirts warm chalav into a bucket. Afterwards, Amir gives us some fresh goat cheese to take home. With your wheat and my cheese, you can make a cheesecake for Shavuot. There are strawberries in our school garden, Ruti adds. We can make a strawberry cheesecake. A week before Shavuot, the wheat is completely dry. Nili takes apart the sheaf and gives us each a small bundle. We beat the stalks against a tarp and hit them with a stick. The grains fall to the ground. This is called threshing, Mora Nili tells us. There are bits of chaff and straw mixed in with the wheat grains. Nili says the breeze will help blow away the chaff and keep the wheat. As we pour the wheat from one bucket to another, the wind takes away the lighter pieces of chaff and straw. This is called winnowing. We winnow until only grains of wheat are left in the bucket. The next day, Nili sets up a flour grinder in the classroom. Everyone has a chance to turn the handle. It is hard work. As the grains are crushed between two stone plates, a small stream of flour sifts down into the bowl. Now we will make our cheesecake, says Mara Nili. Naomi beats the cheese with eggs to make the filling. Avia squeezes in some lemon juice. Ben adds the vanilla. Then we use our ground wheat to make crust. Ben mixes in butter and a little water. Itai kneads the dough into a ball. I roll out the crust with a rolling pin. They are using good teamwork, aren't they? Nili pours the filling into the crust and the cake is ready to go into the oven. While the cake is baking, Chaim and Ruth slice strawberries to decorate the top. Finally, our cheesecake is ready to eat. The result of all of our hard work tastes delicious. And here they have a recipe for making cheesecake with goat cheese. I had said earlier that the cows have so much milk, but so do the goats. And goat cheese is delicious too. I hope you get to make something yummy and delicious for your Shavuot meals as well. Shalom, chaverim.